So, in what should be a surprise to nobody, Kelsey Mitchell has signed the 1 year Supermax. Yep, she signed the 1 year Supermax. I don't think it affects the Fever this year, but she's gone. Like, this is it. This is it for the Indiana Fever. She signed a 1 year Supermax, which means she cannot be traded, which means she is playing the season for the Fever.
That's not excitement. That's resignation. Kelsey Mitchell just signed a 1 year Supermax with the Indiana Fever. And if you think that means she's committed to building something long-term in Indianapolis, you're not paying attention. This is a goodbye tour disguised as a contract extension. Because here's what nobody's saying out loud. If Kelsey Mitchell wanted to be part of the Fever's future, she would have signed multiple years, period. Every other star player restructuring their deal this offseason took less money per year to lock in security and help their team build. Araik Ogunbowale took $1 million per year instead of 1.4 to give Dallas flexibility. Alicia Gray took a pay cut. Marina Mabrey structured her deal to allow roster moves. Kelsey Mitchell took every single cent she could get for 1 year. And that tells you everything about where her head's at.
It's very rare teams run back a Cinderella run. Like Leicester running it back in 2017 didn't work. Miami trying to run back Cinderella run in 2023 did not work. It's a tough one. It's a really tough one trying to run back a Cinderella run where you overperform and running it back. And not only that, they're going to have to 180 their play style, the Fever. The Fever are going to have to 180 their play style because the way they played in the play...
Let's be clear about what this means for Indiana. The Fever just mortgaged their entire salary cap flexibility to run back a team that overperformed in the playoffs. And I'm not being disrespectful when I say overperformed. Making the playoffs as a 6th seed and taking the Aces to a competitive series was impressive. It was exciting. It exceeded expectations. But it was also a Cinderella run. And sports history is littered with teams that tried to run back Cinderella runs and fell flat. Leicester City won the Premier League in 2016 against impossible odds, then tried to run it back the next season and nearly got relegated. Miami's 2023 NBA Finals run didn't translate to sustained success the following year. The problem with Cinderella runs is they require everything to go right at exactly the right time. The matchups have to favor you. The injuries have to hit other teams, not yours. The momentum has to build at the perfect moment. You can't manufacture that twice.
Playoffs does not work when you add Caitlin Clark to that team. When your entire play style is we're going to be a really tough defensive team, we're going to limit the amount of possessions, and we're going to play isolation basketball with 2 isolation ball handlers going your turn, my turn, and then occasionally dumping it into a back down point guard or back down center. Like, that's how the Fever played in the playoffs. Like, if that's the way the Fever are going to run, if the Fever want to run it back, you go and trade Caitlin. I'm being real. You go and trade Caitlin if you want to run it back.
And here's the bigger issue that nobody wants to address. The way the Fever played in the playoffs doesn't work when you add Caitlin Clark to that equation. Watch the playoff games back. Indiana's entire strategy was slow the game down, limit possessions, play elite defense, and run isolation basketball with Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston taking turns. Your turn, my turn. Occasionally dump it into the post, grind out defensive stops. That's playoff basketball when you're the underdog trying to steal games from more talented teams. But Caitlin Clark doesn't play that way. Her entire game is predicated on pace, ball movement, transition opportunities, and high possession basketball. She's not an isolation scorer. She's a system player who makes everyone around her better by pushing tempo and creating advantages before the defense gets set. So which version of the Fever are we getting next season? The playoff version that succeeded without Caitlin's style, or the regular season version built around her strengths? Because you can't have both. And if you try to split the difference, you end up with an identity crisis that satisfies nobody.
And I'm predicting a 26-win season if they do run it back. I'm going 26-win season. And yeah, like, not a bad season. They'll be good. Don't get it twisted, they'll be good. But the Fever were a couple of interesting moves away from doing okay. And to be honest, Kelsey Mitchell's earned every bit of her Supermax. She has. Considering Caitlin's not on a max deal yet, go get the bag. Go get the bag. it's a little bit disappointing to see her take the Super.
Let's talk about what the Fever gave up by letting Kelsey Mitchell take the one-year Supermax. Because it's not just about the money, though that's significant. It's about the assets they didn't acquire and the flexibility they don't have. When a star player is entering the final year of their contract, you have options. You can extend them long-term, you can trade them for assets and start rebuilding around your young core, or you can let them walk and get nothing. The Fever chose option 3, except they're delaying it by 1 year. Kelsey Mitchell signed a 1-year deal with a no-trade clause. That means Indiana cannot move her for assets this season. She's playing out the year, then walking in free agency. The Fever get 0 picks, 0 young players, 0 future value in return. Compare that to how other teams have handled similar situations. When stars make it clear they're leaving, competent front offices extract value. They don't just let them walk. But Indiana's front office either didn't see this coming or didn't have the leverage to force a different outcome. And that's concerning, because it means one of two things. Either Kelsey Mitchell has all the power in this relationship and dictated terms, or the Fever's front office genuinely believed they could convince her to stay long-term and got blindsided by the 1-year decision.
Years so that they could build a team. Obviously Kelsey, if she was going to take a multiple-year deal, would have taken a multiple-year Supermax, because the Indiana Fever absolutely could have afforded to what you call it. They absolutely could have afforded to bring back Kelsey Mitchell on 3-year, $1 million a year, on like a 3-year, $3 million, 3-year, $3 million deal. The Fever absolutely could have afforded to do that, and it's obviously Kelsey Mitchell that said no. And the Fever can't afford to Supermax Kelsey Mitchell in a year. They just can't. So, yeah, it becomes really interesting to see what happens now. But
now let's address the elephant in the room. Salary cap management. The Fever just committed max money to a player who's leaving in 12 months, and that hamstrings everything else they want to do. They can't make significant moves in free agency. They can't offer competitive deals to role players who might elevate this team. They can't create the kind of roster flexibility that championship teams need. They're locked into running back essentially the same roster that peaked as a 6 seed. And here's the thing about being a 6 seed. You're good enough to make noise, but you're not good enough to be considered a real threat. You're the team that can pull off an upset in round 1 if everything breaks right, but you're not the team that other contenders are worried about in a 7-game series. The Liberty, the Aces, the Sun, even the Dream with their offseason moves are building rosters designed to win championships. The Fever are building a roster designed to make the playoffs and hope for magic. That's not a sustainable strategy.
my guess is that Kelsey's gone next year. That would be my take. We've seen every other big star, as in your Alicia Gray, your Enrique, that even Marina Mabry take a pay cut to sign a multi-year deal. Evidently, if it's a one-year deal, maybe the Fever are done with her after a year. Maybe this isn't Kelsey Mitchell, but based on everything we know about Kelsey Mitchell, we've heard about Kelsey Mitchell. She's taking the literal cent of the max that she can make.
And let's talk about Kelsey Mitchell herself, because she's earned every cent of this Supermax. I want to be clear about that. She's been the Fever's most consistent scorer for years. She showed up in the playoffs when it mattered. She's carried this franchise through rebuilding years and never complained publicly. But there's a difference between deserving the money and the decision being good for the team. Both things can be true. Kelsey Mitchell deserves max money. And Kelsey Mitchell taking max money for 1 year instead of slightly less for multiple years hurts the Fever's championship chances. Look at what other stars have done. Players who want to win championships take less money to build better rosters around them. That's not a criticism of Kelsey. It's an observation about priorities. And her priority appears to be maximizing earnings in the short term, which is her right. But it also signals that winning a championship in Indiana isn't the top priority. Because if it was, she would have structured this deal differently. She would have given the front office flexibility. She would have committed long-term to building something special with Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. Instead, she's taking the money and keeping her options open, which means in 12 months, she's testing free agency and probably leaving for a contender or a bigger market.
But look, I'm not saying she didn't earn the money. I'm absolutely not. I actually think she's absolutely deserving of it. I'm just looking at it from the perspective of it might have absolutely fucked her team's salary cap. But at the same time, like, I don't know how much that's the priority. I think we've all said it. It was like getting buckets and getting paid are the priorities of Kelsey Mitchell. Like, I think she wants to win games. I think she wants to win a title. Like, I have no doubt about it that she's going to help the Fever win a title. But I don't know if doing that on the at the expense of a little bit of money is something that she's that interested in. So, look, Kelsey Mitchell coming back. She's playing the season for the Fever. Like, it is what it is. She signed a Supermax. They can't trade her. But it's looking to be... It looks like she's the only one and done core player. It looks like she's the only one and done player. And I don't know what the Fever are going to do long term, because in making this decision, they weren't able to get in any assets, and the Fever don't have many real they don't really have that much ability to build up through the draft, and they don't look overseas, and it's a scary thing, and it seems like the Fever have mortgaged their entire future to be the fourth best team in the WNBA for 1 year, and I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know what their plan is, but you never know. Maybe we'll see something big coming in the next day or two. But shout out Kelsey for getting your bag. Shout out Kelsey for getting paid. Absolutely deserves every cent. But if only the Fever couldn't have found a way to pay her under the table like the Aces have been doing for years. If only the Fever couldn't have found a way to pay her under the table to make her take a little bit less. If only, that would have been a lot better. But anyway, see you guys.
So where does this leave the Indiana Fever? They're running back a roster that's good enough to make the playoffs, but not good enough to win a championship. They're paying max money to a player who's leaving next summer. They're trying to integrate a generational talent in Caitlin Clark into a system that succeeded in the playoffs by playing the opposite of her style. And they have no flexibility to fix any of it. The smart move would have been to trade Kelsey Mitchell this offseason. Get a first-round pick, get a young player, get something of value that helps you build around Caitlin Clark long-term. Instead, they're getting one more year of production and then watching her walk for nothing. Or maybe the Fever front office knows something we don't. Maybe they're betting that one more year with this core gets them close enough to a championship that Kelsey changes her mind and stays. Maybe they think the experience of playing alongside Caitlin Clark for a full season will convince her that Indianapolis is where she wants to be. But that's a massive gamble. Because if it doesn't work, if the Fever have another good but not great season and Kelsey leaves anyway, they've wasted a crucial year of Caitlin Clark's rookie contract window. Those early years when your star player is on a cheap rookie deal are when you're supposed to be aggressive, adding pieces, building toward championships. Instead, the Fever are running it back and hoping, and hope is not a strategy. Here's what I think happens. The Fever wins somewhere between 24 and 28 games next season. They make the playoffs as a 5 or 6 seed again. They probably lose in the first or second round, and then Kelsey Mitchell signs with a contender in free agency, probably taking less money than the Supermax to join a team that's actually positioned to win a championship. And Indiana will be left wondering what could have been if they'd made the hard decision this offseason instead of delaying the inevitable. The comparison to other teams is stark. The Liberty are aggressively retooling. The Aces are adding pieces around their core. The Sun are making moves. Even the Dream are being proactive about building a championship roster. The Fever are standing pat. They're hoping that running back the same team produces different results. And that's not how championship teams are built. Look at Caitlin Clark's situation specifically. She's on a rookie contract that pays her a fraction of what she's worth. The Fever should be leveraging that financial advantage to stack talent around her. Instead, they're paying Kelsey Mitchell max money for 1 year and limiting their ability to add impact players. In 2 years, when Caitlin's rookie deal is up and she's commanding max money herself, the Fever will look back at this moment and realize they wasted their window. They had a generational talent on a cheap contract, and instead of being aggressive, they were conservative. And here's the really frustrating part. This didn't have to happen this way. If the Fever had been willing to have uncomfortable conversations earlier, they could have either convinced Kelsey to take a team-friendly multi-year deal or traded her for assets. Instead, they got backed into a corner where the only option was giving her exactly what she wanted. That's poor asset management. That's poor roster construction. And it's the kind of decision that keeps good teams from becoming great teams. The one-year Supermax with a no-trade clause means Kelsey Mitchell holds all the cards. She gets to play out the season, showcase herself to potential suitors, and leave on her terms. The Fever get one more year of production and nothing else. Meanwhile, teams like Dallas locked up Ariko Ogunbowale on a team-friendly deal. Teams like Atlanta are building through smart trades and free agency. Teams like Las Vegas are retooling around their championship core with financial flexibility. The Fever are hoping that running it back works. And in professional sports, hope without a plan is how you stay mediocre. So here's the question Fever fans need to ask. Is this front office capable of building a championship team around Caitlin Clark? Because right now, the evidence suggests they're not. They're making safe decisions instead of bold ones. They're prioritizing short-term continuity over long-term success. And that's how you waste generational talent. That's how you look back in 5 years and wonder why Caitlin Clark never won a championship in Indiana. Kelsey Mitchell deserves her money, she's earned it. But the Fever deserved better asset management, and Caitlin Clark deserves a front office that's willing to make the hard decisions necessary to build a championship roster. Instead, we're getting one more year of a good team that's not good enough. One more year of watching a talented roster underachieve relative to their potential. One more year of wondering what could have been if Indiana had been willing to make bold moves. The clock is ticking on Caitlin Clark's rookie contract. The window for building a championship team around her is narrow. And the Fever just spent their most valuable asset, their financial flexibility, on a one-year rental. So what do you think? Is running it back the right move? Or did the Fever just waste their best chance to build a championship roster around Caitlin Clark? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and let's talk about whether Indiana just made the biggest mistake of their franchise's future.